Good morning. Welcome to my parents' messy room because Kelly got kicked out of the bathroom this morning. So, whatever, ignore this. But I know of some people who are just kind of getting started with makeup, and I consider myself very amateur, but I think I've learned some very simple skills to make your makeup look really, really good, even when you don't know what you're doing. So I'm just gonna try to fairly quickly. I usually only take maybe 20 minutes to do makeup, so I'm just gonna take you through my routine. So the first thing I recommend for newbies is definitely getting a primer. So I started with Smashbox products because where I got my like beginner makeup stuff was at my salon that had Smashbox makeup. But I think from what I've heard and read, Smashbox are have your best primers, but they're a little more high end. I also have tested Benefit primers. They're amazing. But there's definitely some good drugstore ones, so you can like just search YouTube for drugstore primers. There's so many reviews, so check that out if you want a more affordable primer. I've heard, I think it's called Angel Veil, and I can't think of the brand. I think it's NYX Angel Veil primer. I've heard that's really good. So I already primed my face with a Smashbox primer oil. I also really like the Smashbox Photo Finish primer. Next, I'm going to move on to some color correcting. As you can see, I have a lot of redness in my face. I won't do this every day. I'm not saying that you need to color correct, but it is something I've gotten into that I like when I want to be looking on point. And I usually use a beauty blender to blend everything, but I found that doesn't really work well for this green concealer. So this I just do with my hand. Because I think, I'm trying to remember what I didn't like about the Beauty Blender. I think it blended it so much that it didn't really color correct anymore. I kind of think that the green has to stay on your face just a little bit, you know? So this kind of moves it to where I need it to be, but it's not soaking it into the skin so much that it's not even color correcting anymore. That didn't really work for me so much. So you can still kind of see it, but I'm going to cover it with foundation. So obviously some days I just do a quick concealer. So here's another tip. If you're super quick, you don't want to do much. This Maybelline Master Conceal by Face Studio. I love this. It conceals really well, and if I don't have time for makeup but I want to cover up my redness and my acne and acne scars, I'll just use this with, I can use my finger. I also like it with the Beauty Blender, so that's another tip. So I just did green, so I want to do concealer now, or foundation. Foundation's good for just evening it out, evening your skin tone out, and really covering some imperfections. And I recommend using foundation if you want more of like a flawless, like made up look. I really love the CoverGirl Ready Set Gorgeous. I liked the Maybelline Fit Me, but it broke me out, so I can't use that one. I've been really wanting to try, what is it called? L'Oreal. It's like they have like the Pro Matte and the Dewy ones. I can't think of the name, but I've heard they're really good and I want to try them. And I'm almost out of this one, so I'll probably get that one next. Okay, so this I'm dabbing in with a Beauty Blender. I just poured it on my finger so I can get the amount that I want for every section. I'd say start with less. You can always add more, but you know, it's harder to take away, obviously. Beauty blenders are about $20. I buy mine from Amazon because if you have Amazon Prime, which my mom does, you don't pay shipping, so, or extra tax. So it's better than buying it in a store. And then you get it in 2 days. And they're supposed to last like 3 to 4 months. The one I'm using now has gotten quite a bit of little holes in it, which makes me mad, but I haven't wanted to buy a new one. I usually blend out to the neck just a little bit, at least on the outsides. Okay, so now I'm just blending like crazy. And I'm not going to fast forward. I'm going to actually show you all of this. So if you are kind of new to makeup, you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just getting some. And another tip for starting with makeup is don't be afraid. Like, you have to try stuff to know if it works or not, you know? Like, I found my products just by trying stuff. If you shop at, like, any little drugstore, like CVS, Rite Aid, sorry about that lighting, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, you can return makeup. So, buy it, keep the receipt, try it out. Even if it's opened and used, you can return it. So, don't be afraid to just try new brands, try stuff, see what works, see what doesn't. And drugstore makeup has really upped its game. So you can get everything at the drugstore. You don't need to go high end. So don't think it's going to cost you a fortune to get all this makeup. And okay, YouTube, that's like where I learned everything from. Is YouTube Makeup Gurus. Tati, T-A-T-I, is so good, and she does lots of drugstore stuff, and she really goes in depth about things. So I would say she's actually one of my favorites. Okay, I have a little bit left on my hand, so I'm just gonna look at where I still have some, like usually my cheeks are still a tiny bit red, and then I have acne scars in my lower cheeks, so I'll usually add a little bit more there. Just make sure you blend it. Hope this is helping so far. So you can see my complexion and skin tone and whatever, you know, amateur here, I don't know all the right words, but it definitely looks a lot more flawless, right? It looks finished already. So then I'm going to go in with concealer. I like this NYX HD Studio Photogenic for my under eyes because it's very light, bright color. It's 01, which is shade, what's it called? Porcelain. And I'm so white. So I definitely need it light. I have used this on my acne and acne scars too. I think I just dropped some. There's a white carpet in here, but whatever. That's what you get for kicking me out of the bathroom. I've used it on everything, but I actually think this covers up my acne and stuff better. So it's a squeezy tube. Put some on my hand as usual, and I'm just gonna dot all of my spots, and then I'll use the Beauty Blender to blend everything. So get ready. This is where I go crazy. I love me some concealer because my face needs it. For real. I have some sort of spot everywhere. But I mean, this is where the magic happens, right? Like, this is where you start kind of perfecting your face. And it's not gonna be perfect. Like, none of this is super high full coverage, so even though I'm putting quite a bit of stuff on, the more you do it, the faster you get at it. So it's not like a huge deal. It's like seriously 20 minutes in the morning maybe. And it's gonna give it a really finished look, but I've never had anyone tell me that I look like too made up or like I'm wearing a lot of makeup. So, you know, depending on what kind of stuff you're using, what kind of coverage it has, you can get a natural look while you're still putting on a lot of makeup. So I'm just dabbing, as you can see, like tap, 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 everything in to blend it. I'm really getting in the corner for my under eye. Tati, like I said on YouTube, she just started using like a sponge from Eco Tools that has like a straight across edge, and she loves it for under eye and like the corner of your nose. I have dryness on the corner edges of my nose, and so my makeup does like build up and crease there, so that would be really good. I haven't looked into that yet, but it's blue, I think, from Eco Tools, just saying. So I don't know if you can tell, but this concealer is like making all the difference. Just getting those spots to look like the rest of my face. And sometimes I'll go back in like a second. I mean, I have more left, so I'll go back in and cover the spots that didn't totally cover yet, but you know, I'm not too concerned if they don't go all the way away, because you know what? That's my face, you know? I love it. It's okay. It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm gonna try. Basically, I'm gonna try to make it perfect is what I'm saying. Okay, I have like one more little splotch. Where do I want it? I guess here. It's pretty bad. Okay. finish dabbing this, and then we're going to go into powder. My favorite powder, it's like I'll use like a pressed like finishing powder to seal this all in. And I really like the Becca blotting powder. It's just a transparent color. Oh, it just feels so good on the skin. The finish is the best, but it's high end, you know, it's a little pricier. So, and I find that I hit pot, which is like near the pot, like the metal part, pretty quick. So I'm using Rimmel Stay Matte Long Lasting Pressed Powder. And I think I found this from YouTube, like people saying what drugstore pressed powders are good. And I'm using the color Translucent. And then another tip I got from YouTube from Candy Johnson is to use your beauty blender to apply the powder too. It presses it in just like everything else. So that's what I do because I don't really have a powder brush. A lot of people will just like dust a brush over, but like if I can press this into my skin instead of dust it over, I'm gonna press it in. We want this stuff to stay. And I already have a beauty blender, right? So use what you got. I'm not gonna go out and buy a brush if I don't have to. So I would say a good investment is this $20 beauty blender for sure. I've watched several YouTube videos where they test like other ones, like off-brands, and I've heard that generally the beauty blender is just the way to go. So here's another simple thing you can do to really like up your look. Contour and highlight. So like I said, when I first got into makeup, I got Smashbox products from my salon. So that's what I have. I have this Smashbox contour palette, which is, it's a little pricier. I think it's maybe $40-ish, but it has a contour, a bronzer, and a highlight. And this little picture, that literally, this is pretty much what I do is this picture. So I've started mixing the contour and bronzer a little bit. I just took some dabs, just to warm it up a little bit. But you just go along your jawline right here. Dab, 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 dab. That's it. And just go back and forth. And then I'm going to do just the bronzer, just a little above that, but bring it down to the same place. Hence the picture and what my person told me. A little above and bring it down. And then I usually take the contour here, like where I want like the deepest contour, so the back, and then my little like fat pocket. And then I'll take the bronzer across the whole thing, like right under the jawline, right on it, right under, whatever. And then bronzer up here. I'm watching myself, not the actual camera. Bronzer up here. And then, so this came with it, so I just used that. I left in the bathroom. I have a smaller brush that I like randomly had to do my nose, but I'm just going to squeeze this to do my nose instead. So I'm using contour. Boop, 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 boop. I'm going to do the side of my nose. Contour again. Other side. It's kind of nice to do it with a bigger brush sometimes. It's like already blended out. And then I like to do under the tip of my nose for sure. So that's contour and bronzer. And then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to blend it like a crazy person forever. This is like the most important step. So I'm not doing highlight yet. I'll show you when I like to do highlight. I do it after a couple of other steps. Okay, so we're just getting like the face looking like just real on point right now. I mean, that's basically what we're doing, right? And the steps so far have been pretty simple, right? Like we primed. I color corrected, but you don't have to. I don't always. And then you can do definitely foundation and concealer, I recommend. If you have like really flawless skin, I suppose you could go with like a BB cream. It's a what the heck word am I thinking? Light coverage. But yeah, I would say foundation, whether it's a BB cream or an actual foundation. And I personally like medium coverage because some of your skin does still show through, even though I try to cover it up with concealer. Like I said, it's not like totally crazy covered up, and so then it still kind of looks natural. So That's blended enough for me, I think, except maybe there. Okay, what's next? I think blush. I like always forget blush. So I actually got a blush sample in an Ipsy bag that I really like, but I'm going to show you this e.l.f. blush palette because I think the color payoff is really good in here, and then you get some options. Mine broke, so bye-bye natural shade, but I don't use that anyway. So today I'm just going to use, I tend to like the bright pink on me, but I'm going to mix the two pinks. So I'm just going to like dab it in there a little bit. And then blush I like to do, I learned this from the Smashbox person, like the person in my salon. So don't go all the way up here because then you just look like a doll or something. But if you go here, like an inch in, and then up that jawbone on top, up to the temple, I guess. Like some people I know go up here. I don't usually, but that's probably a good idea. See, we're learning together. I like right there because I think it just gives your face that extra definition. I'm making a video. This is what happens when you kick me out of the bathroom. I need it, the bathroom, all the time. You can't have it. Okay, that's good. Beautiful. And then, okay, here's another beginner tip that I have. This Benefit Gimme Brow is everything, okay? There are so many YouTube videos I've watched where they're showing you like really good drugstore products for your brows, but then they're like kind of shaping them and they're like putting all the hairs in, and I'm like, oh no, I can't do that. I do not have any brow skills, so I choose to use this because it's a little mascara wand. And you just paint it on. And okay, I do recommend a good eyebrow wax. I personally stopped waxing when I moved because I didn't have a place and I wanted to save money too. So I was doing it myself, and then I think I tweezed a little too much. So another reason I recommend going to a professional, because it's so easy to over tweeze, and once it's done, it's done. And my wedding's coming up in too fast, 5 weeks, and so I haven't tweezed under here in a couple weeks because I'm basically just trying to like grow them out and just let the brow artist do their magic. So this might actually help because once I brush this color on, it's a fiber gel, I believe, so it makes your brows, like makes them bigger. Each strand it's going to make a little bit thicker, and it's going to add some color. I've tried a NYX brand of this kind of thing, but it like colored my skin too much, but this color really grabs onto the hairs, so it looks more natural. So I recommend the Benefit Gimme Brow, even though it's $20-something. I will never switch to another one because I tried and I didn't like it. So then I'll go and I'll clean this up. You can see I made kind of a mess, and I've done this with water before, but I like my spit more. Sorry. So I'm looking into a bigger mirror, so sorry, I'm looking in a weird place. I'm just trying to kind of create that arch with this. I personally, okay, let's get into this. I don't use eyeshadow. I got into this habit when I got lash extensions because you kind of don't need more, and then it's like more of a pain in the butt to take off because you can't use like oil-based stuff on your lash extensions. And the lashes are so big and glam anyway that you don't really need extra. And so generally, I just don't. I mean, it definitely gives a more natural look, right? So a lot of times you can put like a highlight, like a really light, like a white color in under your brow to give that definition, but I just don't. So, you know, you do some and you don't do some. So I've like watched, I'm trying to think of what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I've watched some like eyeshadow stuff on YouTube, but I'm like, no, I just can't get into it. So I don't. So I'm going to highlight now because I like to wait until I do the blush and the eyebrows to highlight. So I do down the nose first, and this is hence the picture. Okay, you guys, this is how beginner. And then I'll do like the front of the brow. This is why I wait till I do my brows, because then this kind of covers up other imperfection. Then I'll do the middle of my forehead. Then I go on top of the blush. One thing I really want to get is like an actual highlighter that really will highlight your cheekbone here, or jaw, cheeks are up there, your cheekbone, but I've never invested in one yet. So I just use this. So I'm basically going down the center of my face, right? And I'm doing here. And I'm doing center of my forehead. So that's where you do highlighter. Bam! Okay. Then I'm going to do my lashes. And I think that's last. And then we're just going to set it. So, big tip here is to do, to heat your curler with a blow dryer for, I don't know, 5 to 10 seconds if your blow dryer is hot already, and then curl your lashes, because that's going to curl them like a ton, but I don't have one in here. I do, but it's unplugged, so I don't want to deal with it. So at the root of your lash, grab it, and then I like to just like pump it a bunch. Let's look at the difference there. This makes a big difference. On days where I just did the concealer, but I wanted a little extra, I did put just mascara on quick, but curling makes a huge difference. Also, if you want to invest in a little lash primer, it's like a white mascara kind of, it's going to plump your lashes. So that's kind of like one of those extra steps, like the color correcting thing, like if you're red and you want to use some green concealer under everything. It's like an extra step that's not necessary, but it'll give you a little extra oomph, you know. So, you know, another tip from Kelly. Sorry I can't help you with eyeshadow, guys. But hey, I'm showing you how to get like literally the most natural look. Okay, I'm using Better Than Sex mascara, which is a high-end product, and holy cow, it's like super clumpy on that brush. I think it's about time to get a new one. And I've heard there's really good drugstore ones, so I'm going to try drugstore next time. But one good thing about high-end is that you don't really run into testing on animals. So if you're like big on that, then high-end might be the way to go. Okay, do it on top, and then we'll get a little bottom here. Hey, Mom. You totally in this?
I don't care.
Oh, good.
If you don't care.
I don't care. Okay. We're all friends here.
I'm not going to get dressed, however.
Well, good. Keep this children friendly. Oh, my mom. Funny, funny. Good thing we're almost done, because I am taking over everyone's space. But luckily, you guys, cross your fingers for us. My fiance and I, we have been apartment hunting. We applied to a couple apartments yesterday, so hopefully we can get approved and move out when we get married in 5 weeks. We've been living here because my fiance Juca came from Brazil on a tourist visa, so he can't work in the U.S. And I've just been kind of moving around a lot, and it was like, okay, let's just like settle in one place until we figure out what the heck we're doing. So we've just been living with my parents for now as like a transitional thing, which has been fine. My parents are great, by the way. But, you know, obviously you kind of get in each other's way a little bit. I'm like, hey, I'm making a makeup video, people. Okay, this is looking finished. I'm liking it. Next thing we need to do is, well, so normally I would let this dry, and then I would see all the mess that I made. I always make a mess. And then I'd brush that away. But I think until that dries, it's going to brush away messy. Oh, it's not too bad. So I'm just going to take another Q-tip. I prepared with 2 Q-tips. I'm just going to get rid of all that. Just dry. I used to wet it, and then I was like, wait, then all the foundation and concealer I put on my face comes off. And somebody told me, dry, just flakes off. Are you kidding me? And then sometimes I will use a little, I don't have it, but you know those things that, it's like a stick, like this, and on one side it's like hard bristles, and then the other side it's like a fine-tooth comb. I will use the bristle side when I do my brows to tweeze or to trim them, and I'll use the comb side through my eyelashes to make sure they're very separated. Okay, last part. Everything's done, and the last thing I do, this is new. Like, I've only used it twice. NYX Matte Finish Long Lasting Setting Spray. I love it. It keeps my makeup in place all day. You just hold it 10 to 12 inches away. Don't breathe. and you spray, and it seriously helps, I swear. Like when I'm using this stuff, and it's drugstore price, you guys. It's not bad. You get it from drugstore. I'll look at my makeup like halfway through the day later, and I am shocked at how my makeup is still looking pretty much the same. It's crazy. So definitely get this if you want that long lasting look on your makeup, like after you just did all this hard work, right? I also have a dewy finish one I really want to try, but I do like this matte finish one. So there it is, you guys. That's the finished look. I hope I gave you some super simple tips. Sometimes it's good to get makeup tips from an amateur, right? Because they can kind of explain it in a way that you get. So you can not really know much about makeup and still get a pretty finished look. So yeah, thanks for joining me today, you guys. Hope this helped, and I'll talk to you soon.